Hello everyone. For this lesson, we're going to review text structure. Text structure is the way the ideas in a text are organized to build meaning. So we might confuse that perhaps with just paragraphing. Paragraphs do have a role in this, but ultimately we're thinking about the ideas and the way that the ideas within a text are being organized, and paragraphs can help us do that. One text can have different sections with different structures. So when we look at an article in real life, say from the New York Times or from Go Erie News, we will maybe find one paragraph that discusses cause and effect and another paragraph that's problem and solution. So in school, particularly in younger grades, you may have gotten an entire document that focused only on one text structure to exemplify that. In real life, though, you're going to bounce back and forth quite a bit. So based on how an essay or an article or a book is progressing, the structure might change. There are 6 basic structures we're going to look at, and the first 2 are very closely connected, and that's chronological and then sequence. This is probably going to be the trickiest part for you, is differentiating between the 2. So chronological and sequence both deal with time. It would be giving information in a way that moves first, second, then last. The difference is chronological is telling you a story. Chronological is something that happened at a certain point in time. Sequence, however, is going to be the steps in a process, so that can repeat. I think a great example for understanding the difference between the 2 is talking about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If I were to tell you about the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've ever eaten, that would be chronological. So I would tell you, I could give you a date. On May 21st, 2004, I had the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich ever. I could tell you I came home from school, I watched this show on television, I was so hungry, I went to the kitchen, I could tell you what it smelled like when I opened up the jar. I could give you all of those details because it is an event that happened in time, okay? So in this way, it's connected to like a timeline of events. Sequence, however, is something that can be repeated. So if I tell you how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, first you need to pick out 2 slices of bread, make sure that they're equal in size. Then you need to get out a jar of peanut butter, a jar of jelly, I prefer grape jelly, a knife for spreading the peanut butter, and a spoon for scooping the jelly. Then you want to lay the 2 pieces of bread flat on a plate, scoop out the jelly on one piece of bread, scoop out the peanut butter on the other piece of bread, spread them both, then you'll smush them together. This is obviously something that didn't just happen at one point in time. Going through those steps, that's the way that you would make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich anytime, okay? So again, these both deal with time. They're going to have the same word clues: first, next, last, then, after. This one, first, next, last, finally. They're going to be very, very similar in that sense. But it's all about kind of the event itself. Is this something that took place at a single point in time? Something like a rocket launch, or your first day of school, or somebody getting married. So an event in time versus steps in a process that could happen over and over and over again. So these steps would be more like a YouTube video that's telling you how to do something, okay? So those are the 2 hard ones. From here, you're going to be pretty okay with most of these. We've got description. These would be just details about something. You're just describing something. So if I were to ask you about SpongeBob SquarePants, and I said, tell me about SpongeBob, you could tell me he's yellow. He's made of sponge. He's very happy. His pants are square. You could give me all those different events or all those different descriptions, but we could switch the order, right? You don't have to tell me in that way. You could tell me he wears pants that are square. He's made of sponge. He is yellow. He's very happy. So we could switch that order around and it doesn't matter. Description are just random kind of facts or statements about the way something is, okay? very simple to identify, I think. Here's an example of what a descriptive paragraph might look like. It was mid-October, the harvest well stored. The sun was as hot as if it shone in the first week of September, but a tumbling sky threw great clouds before the wind. And when the sun was obscured, then all the promise of winter was in the air. But it was magic weather, a gift to sweeten the sadness of the ending year. As you can see, those details could be switched around. They're just describing this day. Next, we have compare and contrast. You guys have been doing this for a long time, many, many years. Comparing and contrasting different things, looking at the similarities and the differences between them. Some word clues. If we see words like similarly, on the other hand, compared to, both of them, that's telling us that perhaps we've got a compare and contrast situation. Cause and effect. The only thing that gets tricky about cause and effect is that sometimes they list out the cause and then the effect. Sometimes they'll list out the effect and then they'll tell you potential causes. So that order can switch. Just be careful about that, okay? Some word clues here. If, then, as a result of, due to this, therefore. Words like cause will be used a lot. This caused, this resulted in. Different phrases like that will clue you into the fact that we're dealing with cause and effect. Here's a silly little thing for children that they show just to make sure that kids are understanding the relationship between ideas in terms of cause and effect. I really like the one, effect, I found a treasure. What would the cause possibly be? I used a map or I wrote a letter. I used a map, obviously makes more sense. Last one here is problem and solution. The author describes an issue and then presents a way to fix the issue. Word clues, the dilemma, to solve this, one way to address this. We'll see words like problem, issue, solution. That'll help us out. Do be careful differentiating between problem and solution and cause and effect. Sometimes when discussing problem and solution, an author will explain to us potential effects of the solution. So they'll say, here's the problem, here's one way we could address the problem, but it might have these side effects as well. So that's one of the ways in which we can see within perhaps an article or an essay or a book that the author is blending text structures, okay? So just to review, we've got these 6 types. A lot of people will chunk together chronological and sequence. We're not going to, because I want to make sure that you understand the difference between them. So at first, in this module, you're going to go through and just identify these different types to make sure that you understand the difference between them. But then we're going to progress on to something that's a little bit more sophisticated. And that's asking questions about what is the purpose of the text structure? What is that structure doing for the article or the passage or the essay? How is it helping us understand what's going on or helping us realize the central idea of the text? So we'll start with just identifying, and if you're having issues with that, I will attach some additional resources, some additional practice for you to look at. But hopefully that should be pretty easy for you. Feel free to use your notes. I've attached a text structure reference sheet that should help you and should aid you in kind of looking through and identifying those different ones before you move on to the more difficult task. Okay? Have a great day, guys.